Hey, I'm Marco. I'm a former opera singer turned voice actor. Today we're going to be talking about Shadowlord from NieR Replicant, NieR Gestalt. Wow. This is an incredible piece of music. I hadn't listened to it in great detail, and holy balls. I'm obsessed with this. So right off the bat, I just want to highlight one thing, in that I believe that this is supposed to dial us into very much an oratorio or a Bach cantata, where we are celebrating or singing about the religious spirit. We're celebrating or singing about God. There are choral numbers, there are solo numbers, there are instrumental numbers, all in which tell the story, some gospel story. The Messiah is about Christ. I sang in Judas Maccabeus, which is the story of Judas Maccabeus. There are, dozens upon dozens. In this particular era of music, the celebration of God was at the forefront of the musical flavor. And so when we listen to this, the first bit very much sounds like an oratorio. There is this element of, if oratorios and cantatas tend to be holy, this most likely is the inverse of that. I don't know. There are multiple ways to think about this, but when you hear it, it elicits the sense of good versus evil, heaven versus hell. It just sounds extremely religious, for a lack of a better word. So let's dive in. If you listen, for a brief period of time in undergrad, I was in this group, and it was 4 of us, and we would sing Bach cantatas, and it was very tight in the precision, because each voice needs to be correct tonally, otherwise things kind of fall off the rails and it sounds really bad. This is like tight precision, tight note accuracy. And I think it's very interesting to have an a cappella section to lead this off. There's a building here that's happening. I think it's incredibly cool that they would tap into this very, very, very classical approach to music. Again, there's a sense of structure here that I think as the song progresses, we enter into a new sort of era or dimension in terms of how it's presented. I wish I knew what they were saying. Can you just picture it in church? Singing about God, singing about the deeds that God has done. But there's something not right at the same time. There's something under the surface here that seems dangerous. The organ, the bells, church, religion, faith. If you listen to the organ exclusively, it sounds like a church hymn. I find that so cool. I didn't catch that until right now. It's playing this melody as though it is a church hymn that you would hear in a Catholic mass, let's say. Some voice doubling with the organ. Can Can you just picture yourself in a giant cathedral and this is just playing all around you, and you step in, you walk into this cathedral and this music starts and you know that you're about to face the fight of your life, or you walk in and suddenly you're possessed by this grip of something absolutely not right. If the church is supposed to be a safe haven, suddenly this music makes you feel as though there's something evil lurking around in the shadows. That's incredible. The church bells ring in the distance. You hear there's extra doubling in the organ. Something, it sounds evil. And now, that is just so incredible. Using this jaggedness. Now we know when music is jagged, we know that there's tension, right? Din da, din da, dee, 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 dee. Isn't that interesting? It's interesting. Da, 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 da. When we step down, there's this just pain and anguish and sorrow and anger and rage. And then you listen to the drums. I mean, it's just wild. It's just this sense of like, you know, obviously it's the final battle. It must be. And there's just this driving energy that just, it overwhelms us with a need to combat and a need to fight and a need to be victorious against evil, against terror, against fear, and you feel that. And then the organ, oh gosh, I'm pretty sure I heard strings in there, but it's like there's just so much tension, and it's just, I'm just mesmerized by the idea that they could take something very quintessentially religious and turn it into not only an homage to that time period, but turn it into something violent and turn it into something vengeful, rageful, and it's incredible. I don't have that much to say about this. I mean, like, these tracks blow me away. And also, that was probably the most operatic song in the album. The use of the soprano over top, again, we talk about the soprano voice being celestial, being a harbinger of peace, a celestial voice, heavenly. All of those things were used, but then they're also flipped on their side so that we feel fear. Just taking what we know to be godly and flipping it to sound like demonic. Yeah, I'm loving analyzing NieR. I come from this as a singer. I don't have like compositional skills. I don't have arranging skills. I don't even, I can't tell you what notes are being sung and that's not what we're here for. This is like to remove ourselves from the game and allow our mind's eye to create a new reality for what we feel. And it gives us these emotions. It's like we feel pumped up because we know what happens in the game. But then I have not played this, and yet as a listener, I listen to this and I think, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, this is like a moment of significance in the game, but also is a piece of symphonic literature. And I'm just so excited about that. And there's so many pieces in the video game music canon that all do this, where yes, we feel a sense of memory and nostalgia to when we played that experience. And so it reminds us of the fight, or it reminds us of the battle, or it reminds us of the moment in the game. But then we also have this, as a listener, we have this sense of exhilaration because we listen to something. It's incredible that these pieces exist, and we wouldn't hear them if it wasn't for the medium of video games. We wouldn't hear symphonic music and symphonies and classical music if we didn't go to a symphony hall, or we weren't exposed to it. And so what's amazing about video game music is that it exposes us to classical music as a whole. And so maybe listening to the soundtrack of NieR Gestalt makes you think, and you hear Shadowlord, you think, wow, like I wonder what a Bach cantata sounds like. So then you bust out, or an oratorio. So you bust out Magnificat in D, and you listen to something like Deposuit Potentes, which is the tenor art. Deposuit Potentes. It's not that different. In fact, it's the same. And that's the crazy part about this soundtrack that was written hundreds of years after the original source material. It's borrowing from the same. Any symphonic work, this is such a rant, by the way, any of the symphonic work that we listen to in games has a voice in classical music. And that's what I'm advocating for. Imagine if these pieces were played on a regular concert where you've got Brahms, you've got Mascagni, you've got Mendelssohn, you've got Strauss, but then you also have Keiichi Okabe, and it's just amazing. That was a major rant. Anyway, thank you so much, as always, for watching. I'm thrilled. I can't believe we're almost to 1,000 subscribers. It's like crazy to me how this channel is taking off, and I'm so grateful for you. And hopefully you found this meaningful and interesting, because I know I did, and I enjoyed this music so much. So I'll talk to you soon. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.